Alrighty then, lads, so today we have something a little bit different. Today we have a Rate My Squads sort of a thing. Now, you guys have been asking me to do a Rate My Squads for a while, so we're going to be doing a Rate My Squads. So, we're going to be adding a little bit of a twist. If you have Dark Matter Carmelo Anthony, you automatically get a 10 out of 10. So, let's get into it. Alright, I'm over here for a bit. We have Donald, Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, Julius Randle. It's a good start. D-Rob, we have Lonzo Ball, Bradley Beal, D-Wade, Rudy LaRusso, Pau Gasol, Brandon Ingram, Darius Miles, and Obi Toppin. 2 out of 13 Knicks players. Not too bad if I do say so myself. Donald, I think, is getting a little bit past it. He is still a decent player, don't get me wrong, as is Lonzo Ball. But I'm thinking, you know, maybe you want to start upgrading there. Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, no issue there. Julius Randle, no issue there. D-Rob, no issue there. In terms of like the bench, D-Wade, maybe, you know, think about upgrading him. Rudy LaRusso, actually a bit of an underrated gem in this game, as well as Pau Gasol. Brandon Ingram, it's a bit of a weird one. I don't know if you use, obviously, these last 3 players on the bench here. But regardless, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of this team. Donald, I think, to be honest, like the starting 5 I would use, except for Donald. I maybe use like a Chris Webber. I maybe use a Grant Hill if you have a little bit more MT. Maybe use Luka, because Luka's gone down in price a little bit more. But that's, in terms of like the general team, obviously just starting 5 and then the bench, mainly going to go with the starting 5, or the first 5 on the bench. Maybe I'll be topping in, because, you know, your boy Obi. I'll give this a solid 7.5 out of 10. Just Kevin Durant solid, Kawhi Leonard solid, Julius Randle is really solid, D-Rob really solid. And the bench could do some work, and I think Donald could do some work. Now, we move on. By the way, guys, if you want to follow me on Twitter, go give me a follow. Alright, we have a bit of a tasty one right here. We have J.R. Smith, we have T-Mac, we have Carmelo Anthony. It's a ding ding ding. It's already a 10 out of 10, but we will go regardless, because this team, it's kind of insane. Chris Bosh, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Kobe Bryant's on the bench. Imagine having such a stacked team that Dark Matter Kobe is on the bench. DeMar DeRozan, Michael Jordan, Zion Williamson, Will Chamberlain, Pete Maravich, Grant Hill, and Kevin Garnett. I'll be honest, even if he didn't have Carmelo Anthony, this would be a 10 out of 10. This team is absolutely ridiculous. So, yeah, not really much to say about that. 10 out of 10. Let's get on to the next one. Alrighty, we have Grant Hill, we have DeMar DeRozan, we have Zion Williamson, Giannis, Will Chamberlain, John Wall, Carmelo Anthony's on the bench. Does that count as a 10 out of 10 if he is on the bench? Okay, if I move my big head real quick. If I can, let's move my big head. As you can see up above me, he is starting Melo at shooting guard because he is one of his all-time faves. So, that's a 10 out of 10 in my book. But in terms of like just a general team anyway, Zion at small forward, really good. Grant Hill, I'm a big fan of. DeMar's really good. John Wall's really good. Just overall, guys, solid team so far. So, we go on to the next one. All right, I put myself down here just so we can actually see some of what he has said above me. So, we have Magic Johnson, decent start. We have Kawhi Leonard, Paul Millsap, Danny Ferry, David Robinson, John Wall, Brandon Roy, Kermit Washington, Wes Unseld, Pau Gasol, one Knicks player in Julius Randle. Okay. Jared Jackson and Antoine Jameson. Now, I think this is pretty much your no money spent. Are you no money spent? You do have 1.75 million MT, so I don't know if you are no money spent. But in terms of like if you are no money spent, it's about the average no money spent team you can sort of tend to find now. I maybe swap Danny Ferry and Paul Millsap around. Like I think Danny works better at the 3 and Millsap works better at the 4. But obviously that is just my opinion. Does a John Wall, Brandon Roy? I think your bench is really strong. Kermit Washington at the small forward, Wes Unseld at the 4, I imagine, and then Pau Gasol at the 5. Or maybe you'll start Julius Randle at the 4, who knows. But overall, decent team. I'd give this probably an 8 out of 10. It's decent. You probably get a +1 as well for Julius Randle. So, without further ado, let's get into the next one. Alright, my boy says, any suggestions? He's got Tyrese Halliburton, Bradley Beal, Antoine Jameson, Obi Toppin, love to see it, Jaren Jackson Jr., Donovan Mitchell, Clyde Drexler, Karl Anthony Towns, Ray Allen, Billy Cunningham, Emmanuel Quickly, nice, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson. Okay, boys. We have Tyrese Halliburton, very strong. Maybe think about upgrading him, because while he is still really good, just diamonds don't really look that nice, do they? Compared to opals and dark matters, etc. So, obviously, I think he's like one of the last people you need to upgrade on this team, but overall, I think it's decent. Bradley Beal's really good. I think he's a bit small, but he is still a good card. Imagine if Bradley Beal could play at point guard. That would be kind of nice. Antoine Jameson, I think maybe he's getting a bit past the power curve, but I think he is still okay. And him running at small forward, I'm kind of a bit iffy at. I think he runs better at a power forward, but you do have Obi Toppin at power forward. I'd maybe consider swapping these two, I'll be honest. I'd maybe consider swapping their positions around. Jaren Jackson Jr., I'm fine with on the bench. I just noticed Billy Cunningham's on the bench. Why are you not starting him? Do you just like Antoine and Obi more? I'll be honest, I would start Obi as well. He's pretty phenomenal. On your bench, you have Donovan Mitchell, Clyde Drexler, Cat. Why'd you? I'd probably start Cat. Actually, no, I wouldn't actually. Jaren Jackson Jr. is very nice. So Cat's really good. Ray Allen's really good. Again, your typical no money spent squad. If you want to know money spent, obviously it's still a good achievement. You got obviously you have quickly, so you got the glitch market open. That's more than what a lot of people can say. But overall, I think it's a decent team. I think it's a solid 6.5, maybe a 7 out of 10. So let's get into the next one. Alrighty, this one's looking kind of fresh. We have Chris Webber, DeMar DeRozan, Brandon Ingram. I love you for the Brandon Ingram. We have Grant Hill. We have Karl Anthony Towns on the starters. In the bench, we have Rajon Rondo, Desmond Mason, Richard Dumas, Obi Toppin, Magic Johnson, Kelly. You're running Magic at center? Oh, that's an interesting one. Kelly Oubre Jr., Jaren Jackson, or maybe running Jackson and Art Gilmore at center. Who knows? Who knows? But if you're running Magic at center, that's very brave. So in terms of the starters, I'm a big fan of the starters. I'd maybe consider putting Grant Hill at the point guard, and then maybe running someone like Jaren Jackson at power forward, because he's already such a good card. You get such a decent mismatch at him being point guard. It's insane. If they run like a Westbrook or whatever, obviously you still have the same result with Chris Webber, but I feel like Grant Hill will have more of a opportunity to capitalize on that mismatch. But if you want to run a power forward, still a very good power forward. Dumas, Desmond Mason, obviously really good budget cards for you. Got some free cards on the bench as well. Art Gilmore, Jaren Jackson, Kelly Oubre. You're very close as well to level 40. Obviously only 50k to go. So maybe Dark Matter JR goes in here. There is one Knicks player, and it's always the same one. It's either Obi or it's either Julius Randle. But one Knicks player, so you know, love you for that. But regardless, this team, I think it's still a solid team. I'm giving it a lot of 7 out of 10s, but maybe I'll give this one like a 7.5. Because there is quite a few players in this team I like. Chris Webber I like, Brandon Ingram I like, Grant Hill I adore. Apart from that, it's a decent team. Let's get on to the next one. We have Grant Hill, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Danny Ferry, Giannis sneaking in at center, Chris Webber, Brandon Roy, Paul Millsap, Andre Karolinko, D-Rob, and he has the triple trio. He has Frank, he has Quickly, and he has the GOAT. He has Patrick Ewing. All right, it should be a 10 out of 10. But the only 10 out of 10 capitalized, the only guaranteed 10 out of 10s we get are from the Dark Matter Carmelo Anthony. So Grant Hill, very solid. Kawhi Leonard, very solid. Paul George, I'm not a massive fan of him, but I know a lot of people are a massive fan of him. Danny Ferry, amazing. Giannis, amazing. Starters are a 10 out of 10. Like, I have absolutely no issues with the stars. Very strong stars. So stars are a 10 out of 10. Now we go into the bench. Chris Webber's very strong. Brandon Roy is really good. Millsap's really good. AK's really good, and D-Rob's really good. Now, you can maybe think about upgrading on the bench. Like, I think maybe if you go before the Kareem, for example, instead of a D-Rob. Brandon Roy, I don't really have an issue with. He's basically a T-Mac clone. Chris Webber, I don't really have an issue with. It's hard to say what to upgrade, because I think your front court is strong, but it's very small margins now to get to that next level. Your Dark Matters, you're just there out the slightly better upper echelon of players is what will make this team better. But overall, I give it a solid 9.5 out of 10. Very solid team. Alrighty, we have Donovan, we have Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose is shooting guard. Interesting. Clyde Drexler, Kermit Washington, Mel Daniels, and we have Frank and Nikita. Was that Ray Allen, Brandon Ingram? I maybe swap them too, to be honest. Draymond Green, Ben Wallace, Bradley Beal, Klay Thompson, and Kelly Oubre Jr. Now that I think about it, don't swap them, because I don't think Ray Allen at small forward would be really good. All right, in terms of your starters, I think starters really good. I maybe consider dropping Derrick Rose to the bench instead of Brandon Roy or Ray Allen, because I don't think Derrick Rose as shooting guard really works. Maybe he does for you, but I can't really see that working. So maybe I think Brandon Ingram could go at the starting 2 position. It's a very small lineup. It's a very small lineup. You go to the bench, your tallest player is 6'9". And that's probably your small forward in Brandon Ingram. Because I know Ben Wallace is 6'9", I know Draymond is around 6'9", 6'8", and Brandon Ingram I think is 6'10". So yeah, your tallest player is your small forward on the bench. So I think some height is needed here. You do have 700k in the balance, but I do think some height is needed here. Maybe instead of a Ray Allen, you get that shooting guard Kevin Durant, who's 200k. Which is kind of insane that he's only 200k, so maybe get in some of your MT to use on that beast of a player in shooting guard Kevin Durant. And obviously then, that would just solve your issue of Derrick Rose going to go to the 1. Obviously, you may have to drop Frank. I know, Tia's everywhere. But maybe you have to drop Frank. So in terms of like Derrick Rose goes the 1. We'd have Durant at the 2, as well as Ray Allen at the backup 2. And then I think your team would just form a lot better. But overall, I'd give it a solid 6.5 out of 10. It's just, I think you need a little bit more height. Alrighty, so we have this. Let me just move myself down here. Let's go. Let's not block my face. I know you guys would like that, but regardless. We have Grant Hill, we have Kevin Durant, we have ding 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 ding. We have Dark Matter Carmelo Anthony. So it's already a 10 out of 10. So Giannis as well in that, Kevin Garnett. And maybe swap Garnett and Giannis, because I think Giannis works better as a center. Magic's really good. Juan Carlos Navarro, he's decent. Detlef Shrimp. Andre Karolinko, D-Rob, James Harden, Larry Bird, and Yao Ming. Overall, it's a 10 out of 10, like, just because of Carmelo Anthony. But overall, I think you're missing a few, maybe a few more Dark Matters. Like, instead of, obviously, Carlos Navarro, you maybe want to upgrade to potentially a DeMar DeRozan, for example. Maybe instead of a D-Rob, you maybe want to get Kareem. Obviously, these are big upgrades and very expensive upgrades. But I think, in terms of, like, if you wanted to make the next step, I think that's where you're looking at in terms of how to improve this team. But overall, 9.5 because you have Carmelo, 10 out of 10. Alright, we're back down here. We're back down here for some Discord, which, by the way, guys, if you want to join the Discord, the link is in the description if you guys want to come join and potentially be in one of these future episodes. So we have Kobe Bryant, J.R. Smith, T-Mac, Giannis, Kareem, Grant Hill, DeMar DeRozan, Michael Jordan, Kevin Garnett, Will Chamberlain, Chris Bosh, D-Rob, and Danny Ferry. There is no Carmelo Anthony in sight, so it's a 0 out of 10. Let's move on to the next one. I am, of course, joking. So, overall, 10 out of 10. Like, very, very strong. I imagine you have locked in for Phil Jackson as well, so this team is just even stronger. So, yeah, this very, very strong team, 10 out of 10. Alrighty, we have one of my mods. We have Hans. So we have Grant Hill, Kevin Garnett, Obi Toppin, Mel Daniels, D-Rob. We have Frank, Darius Miles, Bruce Bowen, Wes Unseld, Jaron Jackson Jr. Eddie, the cheeky little devil. He snuck in a Patrick Ewing, but it's the magic Patrick Ewing. Imagine being that disrespectful. So we have Grant Hill, of course, phenomenal card. Kevin Garnett, amazing. Obi Toppin. Come on now. He's Obi Toppin. Mel Daniels, I imagine he's evoed. I'm fairly sure you've told me he's evoed. A power forward. D-Rob, no issue. Frank on the bench. Magnifique. Darius Miles really good, Bruce Bowen really good, Wes Unseld I'm a big fan of, and Jaron Jackson Jr. at the center I'm a big fan of. But overall, decent team. I'll give it a solid 8 out of 10. I think your bench needs some work. Obviously, there's still a few pink diamonds in there. Well, some of them are really good, and obviously I think Bruce Bowen and Jaron Jackson Jr. are really, really good. Frank and Darius Miles I think could be improved a little bit, as much as I love Frank, of course, is defensive beast. So I think you could do so with some improvement on your bench. But overall, I'd give it a solid 8.5 out of 10. And that's going to be it for the first episode of me rating squads. I haven't got a title for the series yet. It's basically just, it's a whatever series at this point. So guys, if you have enjoyed the video, please smash a like on the video. It does help me out a ton. And if you guys want to potentially be in one of these series, follow me on Twitter and follow me on Discord. And join the Discord. Link is in the description. That's it for the video. See you guys later. Take care. Love you all. Peace. I want to give a massive shout out to channel members Michael, Mario Santos, Kia, Hammer, Hans, Joe Selin, Vios, Jacqueline, Lindsay, Knell, and Josh's mum. Thank you so much for your support, guys.